Remember when gaming was all about raw power, grit, and unapologetic bravado? When characters like Duke Nukem and Doomslayer embodied a kind of masculinity that was larger than life, almost mythic? Well, somewhere along the way things changed. Masculinity in video games, at least as we knew it, seems to be fading. But what does this mean for gaming? And what does it say about us as a culture? Let's break it down. In the golden age of gaming, masculinity wasn't complicated. Games were a direct portal to power fantasies, where the heroes didn't overthink, didn't hesitate, and never back down. Think about it. Doomguy didn't have an existential crisis about killing demons, and Snake didn't sit down to unpack his trauma in therapy. These characters were about strength, dominance, and unyielding will. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't meant to be. That's why we loved it. But as the gaming industry evolved, so did its storytelling, and so did our definition of masculinity. For some, this change has been refreshing. For others, it feels like we've lost something irreplaceable. So, what happened? Over the last decade, society has been re-evaluating masculinity. What it means, what it should look like, and how it impacts the world. Terms like toxic masculinity entered mainstream conversations, and creators across all media began redefining male characters. The gaming industry, once dominated by traditional male archetypes, wasn't immune to these cultural shifts. And to be fair, some of this was necessary. Many early gaming protagonists were one-dimensional. They were power fantasies, yes, but they didn't leave much room for emotional depth or complexity. Audiences started craving stories with substance, characters with flaws, and narratives that reflected the nuanced realities of modern life. Take Kratos, for example. In the original God of War games, he was rage incarnate, a relentless force of destruction. But in God of War 2018, we see a different side of him. He's still powerful, but he's also a father, a mentor, and a man haunted by his past. This Kratos doesn't just fight, he reflects. He teaches, and he grows. Is that a loss of masculinity, or is it a more evolved form of it? Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2 is another example. He's a man who can shoot, fight, and intimidate with the best of them, but his story is about redemption, compassion.
Your anger, you can get lost in it. The path ahead is difficult. And you, Atreus, are clearly not ready.
And questioning the violence that defined his life. These characters are undeniably masculine, but they're also vulnerable, and maybe that's the point. Masculinity doesn't have to mean suppressing emotions or ignoring moral dilemmas. Of course, not everyone is thrilled with this shift. Some gamers argue that we've traded grit and strength for introspection and sensitivity, and that this comes at a cost. Games like Doom Eternal serve as a reminder of what made those classic power fantasies so exhilarating. The Doomslayer doesn't talk about his feelings, he just rips and tears. And you know what? That's okay. Not every game needs to unpack the human condition. Sometimes we just want to unleash chaos. But there's also a danger in leaning too hard in the other direction. When we reduce masculinity to just brute force and dominance, we risk creating characters who feel outdated, caricatures rather than icons. The best games strike a balance. They remind us of the power of traditional masculinity while also exploring its complexities. So, what does this all mean for us as gamers? It means we're living in a time where gaming is more diverse than ever. You've got games that let you step into the boots of unstoppable warriors, and others that challenge you to confront your emotions and moral values. The gaming industry is evolving, and that's a good thing. But it doesn't mean we have to abandon what made us fall in love with games in the first place. The truth is, masculinity in gaming isn't dying, it's adapting. It's becoming richer, more layered, and yes, more reflective of the world we live in. And maybe that's for the best, because at the end of the day, gaming has always been about one thing, letting us step into the shoes of heroes we admire, whether they're defined by their strength, their courage, or their humanity. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you miss the raw masculinity of gaming's past? Or do you think this evolution is a step in the right direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get the conversation started. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives into the world of gaming. Keep playing and keep dreaming. See you in the next video.